So it was supposed to be a 4-hour drive. I was living in Denver at the time, and I was going to drive from Denver, Colorado, down to Taos, New Mexico, where I used to live, for Thanksgiving. Simple drive, straight down I-25, cut across. And so the day starts. I get in my blue Volvo, and I start heading south on I-25. And the Rockies are on the right, just beautiful, and on the left is the flats of eastern Colorado, and it's gorgeous, right? Sunny. I'm feeling free. I'm drinking coffee, I'm listening to the radio, the road is stretched out in front of me, and the highway is split. There's 2 lanes heading, in the direction I'm heading, and then the lanes coming north are on the other side. There's this big gap in between them, one of those big sort of pits, and it's just open and spacious, and there's no one in front of me and no one behind. And this is why I love the West, right? I love the open spaces. But then I start having some trouble breathing, and it hurts to swallow, and I can kind of feel that I'm having tightening in my throat, and I feel like a fish out of water. I'm totally sort of gasping for breath, and I'm pretty sure I'm having an allergic reaction because I'd had one once before, but I can't figure out why, right? I'd only had coffee and yogurt and a pear that morning, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm out here in the middle of nowhere. There is nothing. So I start driving faster because the next town is Walsenburg, and it's 40 miles away, and so I'm just beelining it, going 80, 85, 90, and I'm drinking water, and I'm trying to just relax. And I finally see on the side of the road that there's a truck broken down, and there's 2 men standing outside their truck, and I'm like, people! And I pull off, and I slam the car, I'm going really fast, and I slam on the brakes, I get out of the car, and before I have a minute to say anything, one of the men, whose name is Miguel, as I learn later, turns to me and says, "Hey lady, you got a jack?" Because their tire is flat. And I'm like, hospital, I can't breathe. And the other man, Jesus, who doesn't speak English, starts speaking to me in Spanish, and I'm like, necesito un hospital. And they get in my car. Miguel gets in the front seat, Jesus gets in the back, I get in the front, and Miguel guns it and goes down that crazy embankment and up the other side, which literally I thought was only done in movies, but turns out my old Volvo could pull it off. Turns north, and we're flying down the highway going back north to Pueblo. They squeal into the hospital emergency room. I come in, I'm having this allergic reaction. They take me back, they give me an injection of epinephrine, which is liquid adrenaline, right? So it works. As soon as they inject you, your throat loosens up and you can breathe. But, you're also really jacked up because it's like someone's injected you you're shaking as if you've had so much caffeine, and they have to monitor you before they release you from the hospital. So I'm sitting there, being monitored, and one of the nurses comes in and says to me, "Are those 2 dirty Mexicans with you? Aren't you worried they were going to steal your car?" And I don't even remember how I responded because I was so shocked and upset and jacked up, and I don't even know if I said anything or if it was just in my head. But anyway, she left. Another nurse came in and basically said, we're going to release you, but we're going to give you an EpiPen. And so hands me this EpiPen with the box and explains that, if you have a reaction again, you need to stab it in your butt. And, it's all automatically, the injection is all automatically ready, so you just hit it and it will release the needle. And, the thing about this kind of reaction is you really only have 15 minutes. Your throat can swell shut and you can die. This is no joke. And so she's like, look, even if you use this EpiPen, you still need to fucking get to the hospital, immediately. And so she releases me, and I go back to the, waiting room where Miguel and Jesus are waiting. And Miguel says to me, hey, we're driving down to New Mexico too. We're going down to San Luis, and if you help us fix our flat, we can caravan and make sure you're okay. And I'm like, absolutely, absolutely. So, we get to their car, the truck, we fix the flat. We get back on the highway, we're driving south. I'm driving first, they're behind me, and I feel safe. I feel safe having them behind me. And we get to Walsenburg, and then we get off the interstate. Now we're going up and over La Vida Pass, and the reaction comes back. I'm driving up the pass, and I start feeling more trouble breathing, and I'm like, shit. And I pull over, and they pull over, and, we get the EpiPen box. It's crazy. Miguel has, the piece of paper, which is in the tiniest font, and he's just trying to read it, and Jesus is holding the box, and Miguel's like, holy shit, lady, I don't know what to do, and Jesus is just muttering in Spanish, and I'm just like, give it to me. I swear to God, I'm gonna fucking die on this pass the day before Thanksgiving with these two guys. And I just grabbed the EpiPen, I took it out of the plastic case, I pulled down my pants because I was wearing jeans, and for some reason, I thought maybe the needle wouldn't go through the denim. So I pull down my pants, I lean on the back of my car, and I just stab my ass. And Jesus's eyes are wide open. He's just looking at me like this white girl in her underwear with a needle. And I'm just like, oh, but it works. It works. I mean, EpiPens, they work. You immediately can breathe. And I remember how you were supposed to hold it for a minute before you pull it out. And I remember when I pulled it out, I made the mistake of looking down, which is, trust me, not a good idea, because it is a 4-inch fucking needle. It would have definitely gone through my jeans. But I'm still sort of we have to get to the hospital. And so Miguel and I get in my car, Jesus is in the truck, and we start driving down to Alamosa, which is the next town. And it's a windy mountain road. And Miguel is driving like a madman. He is taking these corners at 70 miles an hour. And I'm thinking, we might just die because we might go off the road. What if someone's coming the other way? We're fucked. I mean, he's just driving insane. And my chin was shaking. I couldn't control my chin, and I was trying to drink water. And Miguel is just relax, tranquilo, just relax. And I'm dude, I'm trying. I'm really trying. But it was scary. It was really, really, really scary. So he careens again into Alamosa Hospital, and this time they put me on a respirator. It's a more serious stage, I guess, of the reaction, and it's hours, and they're monitoring me and all this kind of stuff. And they finally clear me where I can make some phone calls. And the first person I call is my mom, and I call her in Los Angeles, and I start crying, and I tell her I've had 2 anaphylactic reactions in one day, and I'm really scared. I'm scared to drive alone. And my mom's I'm in the car, I'll be there in 16 hours. And she was. She came to New Mexico immediately. And I called my 2 friends in Taos. I was only an hour and a half away from Taos, and they both were we're in our car, we'll be there in 3 hours. One friend was getting off work, but we'll be there, we'll pick you up. And so I go out to Miguel and Jesus, and it's 8 o'clock now at night, and I feel so bad, because they had their own family reunion at San Luis, and they're way late. And I say, I have my friends, they're coming, and my mom, and you guys don't have to wait. And they wouldn't leave. They wouldn't leave. They stayed until midnight when my friends got there. And I don't know how you begin to thank 2 people who saved your life twice in one day, right? I really struggled. When they left, of course, lots of hugs and tears. I got their contact info. Jesus mostly lived in Mexico. Miguel was back and forth between San Luis and Denver. So I sent them this heartfelt, letter, note, whatever, and I struggled with the issue of whether I should include money. I sort of felt that was I wasn't sure if that was a good idea, but I also knew they had kids, and I knew they were migrant workers, and I knew it was the holidays, and I figured they could use it. And then I actually kept in touch with Miguel, and I took him out for dinner to a brewery in Denver like 6 months later. And it was so funny because we really have nothing in common, right? You know, like we're sitting there at this brewery in Denver, and we kind of don't have anything to talk about. And Miguel says to me, you know, you're so normal. And I said, yeah, I am normal. Like, when I'm not having an anaphylactic reaction, I'm very normal. But I really wonder how Miguel and Jesus tell this story, you know, like, oh, we had a flat tire and this crazy woman, like, pulled over. I have no idea what their version of the story is. But I do know that after this incident, I was really scared to drive out west. My mom followed me back up to Denver. I wouldn't go camping. I wouldn't go backpacking. I wouldn't go out to restaurants. I was doing like a food diary. I was going to the allergist, all this stuff. It took me a long time to sort of trust that I was going to be okay. However, I do all kinds of things out on the road now, but I have 3 things I know. And one is I always take my EpiPen. 2, I always pay attention on the road where the blue hospital sign is, the blue sign with the H. I always pay attention, like which towns have hospitals on this road. And I always know that there's good people on the side of the road. Thanks.